Welcome to OneSpatial's prototype traffic management plan automation service. Thank you for agreeing to take part in giving it a go and letting us know what you think. Your involvement is a great opportunity for both of our organisations to ensure that OneSpatial produces a service that has real value to you in your work producing traffic management plans. As we are sure you all know, often when a street, a highway or a footpath is dug up, a traffic management plan is required for health and safety reasons. The Department for Transport in England estimates that street works cost around 4.3 billion annually. Approximately 2 million excavations are dug each year by utility companies in the UK, whether they be for making repairs, laying new infrastructure or replacements, or even finding things such as water companies trying to locate recently adopted sewers. Whilst there's no specific industry agreed cost of drawing up a traffic management plan, our discussions with a number of utilities and contractors have suggested that there is a cost of around £250 made up of both tangible and intangible costs. When a traffic management plan is drawn up, it should be compliant with certain rules regarding how the signing, lighting and guarding equipment is provisioned and laid out according to the nature of the work and the layout of the road. These rules are described in these documents, particularly the Safety at Streetworks and Roadworks, a code of practice, frequently referred to as the Red Book. For anyone producing traffic management plans, there is a significant cost in both time and money to assess the road layout, perhaps undertake site visits, draft a traffic management plan, have it reviewed, potentially have it amended, and get it finally approved by highways authorities. Traffic management plans are currently produced as CAD drawings with very little automation. The trouble with drawing traffic management plans by hand in CAD is that it can take some time to produce them, from hours to days or even weeks, depending on how many site visits and subsequent amendments are required. The person drawing the traffic management plan needs to know the Red Book in some detail, and a site visit may be required before an initial draft is even produced. This all takes time, which of course costs. As mentioned just a moment ago, our discussion with a number of utilities and contractors have suggested that there is a cost of around £250 made up of both tangible and intangible costs. There's the cost of people's time to undertake site visits, communicate with each other, and of course to actually produce the drawing and make an amendment that might be required following a review. The question is whether there is any scope to automate the process of producing traffic management plans that adhere to the rules described in the Red Book. Through collaborating closely with Northern Gas Networks on an innovation project facilitated by the Energy Innovation Centre and with some informal involvement from Leeds City Council, OneSpatial has proven that it's possible to automate the production of traffic management plans. The innovation project asked us to look at assessing how information technology could be used to assess whether and how traffic management plans could be more efficiently created. They needed to implement the rules described in the Red Book and needed to be produced in a form that allowed them to be easily shared electronically. The underlying principle is that automation might allow the different options to be produced more quickly and efficiently, and that assessing different options might help reduce the impact on drivers through reducing congestion. For the project, we had three main things we had to investigate. The first was whether or not we can even encode the rules from the Red Book in software. And if we could do that, could we trigger the running of the rules by clicking the location of the proposed excavations on the map, and if having the software then assess the road layout and produce us a traffic management plan? It would also need to complete an equipment list and generate the letters to send to addresses that might be impacted by the plan. OneSpatial specialises in solving tricky problems using its rules engine software, and we were pretty confident that something useful could be done. So we encoded the rules for some representative layouts from the Red Book and created a proof of concept application that would allow the user to simply click on the map and have a traffic management plan created. The proof of concept allowed the user to generate a traffic management plan, an accompanying inventory list, and generate a mail shot of letters to the addresses that might be impacted by the plan. It's been presented at a few industry events and seems to be going down quite well. The response across the industry suggests that if we build a full service, it might potentially be of value more widely to other utilities, highways authorities, supply chain contractors, and traffic management service providers. So we've taken that original proof of concept application that was specific to Northern Gas Networks and built a more generic online one that we are currently calling Traffic Management Plan Automation, or TMPA. It's currently a cloud-based software as a service prototype to find out what others think. It aims to cut down the creation of traffic management plans from hours or days to minutes, with a simple, intuitive user workflow. We believe this could deliver substantial efficiencies to organisations both in respect to the time and cost of producing traffic management plans. And this is where we need your help. As someone who is familiar with the creation of traffic management plans and the procedures that need to be followed, we would like to trial the prototype TMPA solution. Currently, it handles only a partial set of road layouts, and there is a myriad of functional and user interface improvements we are already planning to make as we look to engineer and scale up the solution to become a real and compelling offering. As such, we are eager to gain your honest feedback and insights to ensure we are heading in the right direction. All feedback is welcome. We really do want to ensure that we build a solution that brings real value to its users. All you need to get going is the website link from OneSpatial and a username and password. There is no requirement to install any special software since the prototype will just be accessed through a web browser. Of course, some understanding of your organization's current approach to traffic management plan production is pretty important. To help you get going, we've produced a prototype user guide and we hope you find it useful. For the test locations, we have loaded Ordnance Survey master map data for 3 areas of 10 kilometres by 10 kilometres. These cover parts of Leeds, Coventry and South West London. Right, let's show you the prototype service and hopefully you'll feel well orientated by the end. Now, here's John Hartshorn to run you through a demonstration of TMPA.
Once we've chosen the location for our excavation, we can go to the I12 menu and choose Step 1, Create TM Design. We pick the road centre line near where the excavation will be, and then we can go out to Google Street View to have a look at what the road looks like. We then need to give our TM plan a name, and because the traffic management plan layout can be determined partly by the number of vehicles passing over a period of time, we can enter traffic counts for total vehicles over a 3-minute period and the number of HGVs over a period of an hour. We can then indicate whether there's any form of lane designations. We then choose a method for entering our work area on the map and then digitize a polygon to represent the work area, which is of course the excavation. We then get a brief summary of all the information we've entered so far, and then the application asks us if this is going to be a multiple excavation or not. A friendly message now confirms that the work area will be submitted for processing, and a blue circular area on the map shows where all the data is being selected to be passed into the rules engine. The rules engine now decides which rules it needs to run based on the road centre line that we chose earlier nearest where the excavation actually is. And you can see progress being reported in the left-hand window, and then as it comes towards an end you'll start to see the actual signing, lighting and guarding equipment being displayed as part of the processing. Then we get a very brief summary telling us that that particular layout took 24 seconds to run, and then it tidies up and leaves us with the final traffic management plan displayed on the screen. We can zoom in and see our work area, our safety zone, the signs, the lights and the guard barriers, and this is a fairly straightforward traffic control by give and take for roads with a speed limit of 30 miles an hour or less. Okay, now step 2, which is to create the TM plan output in the inventory report. So we pick our plan and we can enter some basic information for drawing number and status that's going to appear on the hard copy output. A little bit more information that will appear on the notes page for the traffic management plan, and off it goes to start to generate the PDF version of our plan. What it's doing here is it's actually building a PDF file that's made up of 3 pages: the output plan, the inventory report, and then a notes page that will accompany it and give us a little bit more information about the traffic management plan that we've just generated. So once it's generated, we get a link in the left-hand panel. We select the link and it pops up the output TM plan in its own separate window as a PDF file. Page 1 is the actual map output. Page 2, you'll see we have the equipment list for all the signing, lighting and guarding in that plan. And page 3 is a page of notes, and if any edits have been made to the plan since then, they'll appear on the notes page too. The third and final step is to create our letters to go to potentially impacted addresses. We enter a date range for this particular streetworks, and we can also choose the option to have it take into consideration the speed limit of the roads when looking at the addresses to include in the letters. We then choose which template we want to use for the letters, and we can see it select the individual addresses to which a letter will be sent. And then it uses this selected set of addresses to generate a PDF mail shot of all of the letters that are to be sent to those addresses. And as soon as the report is ready, we'll get a link in the left-hand side that opens up the PDF version of those letters, and we can see it on the template that we chose. And there it is, a letter for every address that's affected. We close it all off, and the final thing we can do is it will now create us an impact zone map relating to the addresses that are potentially affected by this traffic management plan. And that's a sort of map that can be put up in the wall of a depot or a site office.